Hello, so it's Lara Doherty at the Motivation Clinic, introducing you to Motty Varghese, who is a behavioural sleep therapist. He's actually based in Dublin, and he has been a therapist for 17 years. And I'm fascinated by sleep, having read a lot about it, and just improving my sleep habits over the last few years. And I just wanted to really talk to an expert and find out more about the work really that Motty does with his clients, and really why you're doing what you're doing. So really my first question was going to be, why do you do what you do? And why, what started you off being a sleep therapist?
Yep. First of all, thank you for asking me to do this, and I'm very happy to do it for the
Pleasure.
Motivation Clinic. I worked as a respiratory and sleep physiologist in Dublin for the last 17 years. So the job of a physiologist involves diagnosing or help to diagnose the physician in assessing a person's sleep and what happens when they are sleeping. So, for example, obstructive sleep apnea would be one of the disorders that would be that is very commonly prevalent among our general population. So, a sleep physiologist performs the sleep studies and finalizes the report so that the physician can initiate therapy for the person. So, was working as a sleep physiologist even after diagnosing somebody with a certain problem, they weren't able to sleep poorly because they always had maintained poor sleep hygiene or poor sleep patterns, or they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have the right understanding about sleep, or they were more anxious about sleep as well. So I think it
Yeah.
is important for us to address their sleep patterns and also to find out how much sleep time they're getting, because correcting the quality of sleep alone is not going to improve sleep overall. So it is vital for us to make sure that individuals are getting enough quantity of sleep as well. So for example, if somebody suffers from insomnia, they wouldn't be getting enough quantity of sleep. So it is important to address that quantity issue of sleep as well. And when you actually work with individuals with sleep difficulties and particularly insomnia, and when they start sleeping better, when they start falling asleep quicker and getting back to sleep quicker when they wake up at night, or if they can manage to sleep until a certain time in the morning, it makes a profound impact on their energy levels during daytime, how they
Mm.
feel during daytime, and their mood, their irritability, their general well-being, and their general quality of life improves. So I find this a very, I find great satisfaction from doing it, and hence to keep going with it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Um, so what are the real results that you'd like for your clients and for yourself? So what's a sort of typical um, result over, I know that you do a 4-week program, um, from when your client starts the therapy with you to the 4 weeks following, what
Yeah.
results do you see, or what changes?
Yeah. So individuals with insomnia would complain of either of three things. One, falling asleep. So they would have a very long sleep onset latency. They take uh, quite a long time to fall asleep. Or
Mm.
some of them may have maintenance insomnia where they wake up at night and find it hard to go back to sleep. So they would have what we call increased wake time after sleep onset. Or some of the individuals would complain of early morning awakenings where they would wake up earlier in the morning than they would like to.
Okay.
So let's call it their sleep opportunity. The time they turn the lights off to turn the lights on in the morning, that is their sleep opportunity. So
Mm.
if an individual is taking a long time to fall asleep or a long time to get back to sleep when they wake up at night, or wake up too early in the morning than they would like to, then not getting enough quality of sleep. So
Mm.
despite having an adequate sleep opportunity, the total sleep time is still small. And the sleep efficiency is a percentage of the time you sleep of the time you spend in bed. So if you spend 8 hours in bed, and if you're only sleeping 4 of it, that's
Yeah.
50% sleep efficiency. You should ideally have 85, 90% of sleep efficiency, and the higher the better. So when we do therapy for an individual with insomnia, what we will be trying to do is to address either their difficulty falling asleep or difficulty getting back to sleep or their early morning awakenings. So when we do that, they can actually sleep longer, because within their sleep opportunity, they can actually sleep longer at the end of the 4 weeks or weeks, depending on how long it takes for them to do it. And that would also mean their sleep efficiency improves.
Okay.
So if you can achieve a sleep efficiency of 85% or 90% or higher, the
Mm.
more satisfactory sleep is. They go to bed, they fall asleep, they wake up at night once or twice. There's nothing wrong in it, if as long as we get back to sleep and wake up at a reasonable time in the morning. And that's what we would be trying to achieve with the 4-week program.
Okay.
Now, individuals with insomnia can also have multiple awakenings at night times. Now, there are also other factors that can cause multiple awakenings, like environmental factors. There are also physiological factors like obstructive sleep apnea or restless legs or gastroesophageal reflexes, things that can wake them up at night.
Yeah.
But there are also psychological factors like high level of anxiety or high level of stress, which can increase their hypervigilance, increase their alertness at nighttime. Also, it is elevated during daytime, and another reason for it to be elevated at nighttime as well. So
Yeah.
that can also cause. So those are the factors that we try and address in the 4 weeks to improve individuals' sleep.
Okay. And in terms of sort of, could you suggest some kind of tips or tools for good sleep hygiene?
Yeah,
If
you
somebody's
may have,
watching this video.
yes, a very quick Google search, you could find all the good sleep hygiene habits, but there are a few of them which are more important than the ones. I think we should have a consistent wake time and a consistent bedtime.
Yeah.
We can always find similarity between sleepiness, which is your appetite for sleep, and hunger, which is your appetite for food.
Yeah.
If you leave several hours between meals, you get hungry. But if you have your breakfast at 9 a.m. and if you try to have your lunch at 11 a.m., you're not hungry enough. Similarly, if you wake up at a certain time, let's say 7:30 in the morning, and then you go a number of hours without sleep, and then you attempt to sleep again at 11 or 11:30 at night,
Yeah.
and during the wake period, you build up your drive for sleep or your appetite for sleep or your sleep drive. So it is an accumulation of a chemical called adenosine that's making that possible. It is that's when we feel we have that sleepiness closer to bedtime. But if you are waking up at 10 or 30 and then attempting sleep at 11 or 11:30, you don't have an awake period, and for that reason you would find it difficult to fall asleep. So always ensuring that you have a consistent wake time and a consistent bedtime is important for us to ensure that we have enough sleep drive built up by the time it is our bedtime. So that's number one, the most important factors. The second factor is light exposure. What keeps us alert and awake during daytime is the natural sunlight, which is also very rich in blue spectrum light, and which keeps
Yeah.
us alert and awake during daytime, and that's what we need during daytime. We want exposure to lots of nice bright light during daytime, which will keep us alert and awake and enable us to do different things that we want to do. But closer to bedtime, we don't want alertness. We want more sleepiness. So we need to
Yeah.
turn the bright lights off, particularly handheld devices. Now, I want to emphasize on the fact that now this is not the only factor that affects our sleep, but it is one of the factors and that we should pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So limiting the blue light exposure for 2 hours before our bedtime will ensure that we have enough sleep hormone or melatonin built up,
Yeah.
which is a major factor that helps us to initiate our sleep. And it also has some role in maintaining sleep. So a particular point called the DLMO, which stands for dim light melatonin onset. And that happens 2 hours before we fall asleep. For a person who falls asleep naturally at, let's say, half 11, the DLMO would be 2 hours prior to that. So hence, the recommendation that we should avoid bright light or blue light exposure for 2 hours before bedtime. So those are the two most important factors. We should also leave caffeine for 8 hours.
Okay.
In tea, coffees, some soft drinks, chocolate, etc. Now, it's also important for us to remember that we are all differently sensitive to light and also caffeine. So some of us may be able to drink a cup of coffee at 6 in the evening and still sleep without any problem. So it's not, I'm not being prescriptive, but it's important for us to assess ourselves on how sensitive we are to light and also tea and coffee or caffeine in general.
Yeah.
We also have to keep our core body temperature down if we are eating late at night, or if you take a hot shower very close to our bedtime, or if we exercise within 3 hours of time, or if we drink alcohol closer to bedtime. The digestive process can increase our body temperature. Exercise can increase body temperature. Hot shower closer to a bedtime can also increase the body temperature, which is not very conducive to sleep. But if we take a shower a couple of hours before our bedtime, we get a nice spike in the core body temperature, and then we get a nice drop closer to bedtime, which will promote sleep. So those are generally a few factors that we could focus on a good night's sleep. It's also very important for us to put our day to bed before we go to bed at night. We need to make sure that we have a relaxed mind, a calmer mind closer to our bed. You know, stress hormones always bring about the fight or flight response, and it is not very helpful. We don't want to be battle ready when it is closer to bed. We will be relaxed and calmer. So we have to engage in activities that are more relaxing, that will calm us closer to bedtime, like reading, watching TV. TV is okay to watch closer to within the last 2 hours because TV is at a distance, unlike a phone or iPad or a laptop, which would be very close to our face. So it all depends on the amount of light that falls on our retina closer to our bed. TVs, we also have to be able to do something that is relaxing. So watching TV is fine. Well, I suppose it is it's the least one compared to other light sources. We also have to rationalize our anxieties and worries, and we have to do that sometime in the late afternoon or early evening and not close to bedtime. So do some journaling sometime in the late afternoon.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
I do a lot of journaling.
You have worrying factor in our lives, stress, things that make us stressful. It increases our alertness, and we don't want that to happen closer to bedtime or in the middle of the night. So deal with them sometime earlier during the daytime or late afternoon or early evening, and not close to your bedtime.
Yeah.
So those are the factors that we could focus on as good sleep hygiene habits.
Okay, that's fascinating, really interesting. And I love the fact that you've talked about journaling, because I know how great journaling has been for me, just kind of writing out all the thoughts that are going through your head, to get them down on paper is a good release of anxiety and stress.
Exactly. We're not saying it will vanish completely, but the intensity of those thoughts, the intensity of those thoughts and worries will definitely come down.
Yeah, and a hot shower.
Nighttime, our brain, the part of the brain that deals with rational thinking is downregulated at nighttime.
Yeah.
So if we worry about different factors or we stress about different factors, we tend to catastrophize.
Yeah.
Because we're not thinking rationally at night. So if you wake up at night, always remember that that it's not a good time to strategize or rationalize your anxiety, because we would be catastrophizing, and which is only going to wake us up further, and then we would find it difficult to go back to sleep.
Okay, that's really fascinating, actually. So why, I know when we've talked before, you've said that some of these strategies, even though individuals might have these strategies, they're still not able to sleep even after practicing these good habits.
Yes.
Why is that?
Like if we all could fix our sleep problems just by following a good number of sleep hygiene habits, we wouldn't have people with sleep difficulties or people with difficulty falling asleep or getting back to sleep. So that's because we also need to address our anxieties. It's always finding a balance between alertness and stress. So we need, addressing the poor sleep habits are important. It's very important because it helps to optimize your sleep, drive closer to your bedtime. But we also need to address the stressful factors and the anxieties about sleep and also in general life. It's always about finding a balance between alertness and sleepiness. We want to be alert during daytime, which will help us to do things, get things
Yeah.
done. But we don't want alertness closer to bedtime because we more sleepiness in the evening time, in the evening hours closer to bedtime. So we should engage in activities that promote relaxation and also promote sleepiness, and which makes us less alert. And that part is missing when we all do the sleep hygiene habits. We also maintain misconceptions about sleep. One of our tendencies will be to think, I'm putting all the sleep hygiene habits in place, good sleep habits, and that'll get me a good night's sleep. But unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way all the time.
Mm.
We also have to approach them as, okay, these are factors that would help me, but they are not factors that is going to make it possible. So we don't want to approach them as safety behaviors. We also have to understand the fact that sleep is the result of a natural physical process. It's like feeling hungry for food or feeling
Yeah.
thirsty for water. Falling asleep is the result of a natural physical process. It happens naturally, and your body makes it happen, but you don't need to actually try to make it happen. So we need the acceptance that I can't make sleep happen. I can't get a great night's sleep by following certain good habits. I need to have the acceptance that, because when you put in the good habits, I mean, you still can't get to sleep quick as you want, you're worrying about it, you're frustrated about it, and you're stressed about it, which is going to make you awake,
Yeah.
alert, and anxious. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen. But accepting that I can't make it happen is a good first step. That's when you're more relaxed about it. I mean, if you talk to people with insomnia, they would always say that. I've been
Yeah.
trying to get great night's sleep for the last 20 years, depending on how long it's been going on for, but I still can't make it happen. So when you fail at thing and achieving good night's sleep for many, many times, I think it is, when we look at it more objectively, it's more rational to think that we can't make it happen, but it will happen naturally. So
Yeah.
that's one factor that we all need to remember all the time. We also tend to develop certain dysfunctional beliefs and attitudes about sleep, like, if I don't sleep well tonight, I wouldn't be able to go to work tomorrow, or I wouldn't be able to, or I will get sick in a few years' time. We've all heard about Margaret Thatcher had dementia, and she wasn't, she didn't sleep very well.
4 or 5 hours,
Yeah,
I think, wasn't it?
yes, something like that. But, we all kind of get hooked to those information and worry about it. So it is important
Yeah.
for us to objectively look at the information on how many nights did you miss sleep poorly, and how many days did you miss work following that. And it is important for us to correct those dysfunctional beliefs and attitudes about sleep. And we would also have other stressful factors in life, other anxious factors that causes anxiety in life, personal life, work. So when we are stressed or anxious about those factors, that's just going to increase our alertness.
Yeah.
Especially it is when it is closer to bedtime that it is very nice and quiet. There is no other disruptions. That's when we start thinking about the
Yeah.
strategizing. So we need to be aware of that factor as well. So it's about achieving a calmer mind closer to our bedtime. And different people would have different strategies to achieve it. Some people may like to do meditation, breathing exercises, or music, or watching TV, or reading.
Yeah.
So we also have to be self-aware to find out what is the one factor that would help us. What is the one factor that would work for us? I think it's important that we address the stress and anxieties in our lives to get a great night's sleep.
Brilliant. And I've heard some or read your testimonials and seen that you've helped a lot of people. So that's really fantastic. Motty, thank you so much. That's been really, really fascinating. And thank you very much, and take care.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And it was great to chat to you, Lara.
Yeah, thank you.